guys, it's Kira and welcome to another vlog. Today is Monday the 19th of October, which for me is the first official day of the Dark Academics Halloweenathon Readathon. So this is a readathon that I'm hosting alongside Lucy, Mary, Carolyn and Emma, who I'll link down below because they are incredible and you should definitely check them out. But they are my other co-hosts for the Dark Academics book club, and of course we are the founding members of a book club which is all about dark and spooky books. And so this readathon just seemed like a natural choice for us because we all just love this season so much, and it just seemed like the perfect opportunity to try and read as many dark, spooky and creepy books as possible, as well as fitting in some other Halloweeny activities. And so this is actually a 2-week long readathon running right up until Saturday the 31st, which is of course Halloween itself. And the readathon actually officially started a couple of days ago on Saturday the 17th of October, but I was actually hosting another readathon that weekend, which meant that I couldn't actually start on the first official day. The reading vlog for the other readathon I was hosting, which was the Fall into Autumn readathon, is already live, so you can go and check that out if you want to see all of the books that I read during that weekend, because I feel like that weekend and the books that I picked up then were a very different vibe from the ones that I'll be reading throughout the next couple of weeks. But I am super excited to delve into some dark and spooky books, and I can't wait to share all of my thoughts with you all. So for this readathon, Carolyn, who is our incredibly talented illustrator within the group, and we're so lucky to have her, created this incredible bingo board of all of the prompts that we created. So those are some of the things that I'm going to be trying to do throughout the next couple of weeks. But I thought I would kick off the readathon by starting by telling you what books I'm planning to pick up over the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping to be able to read quite a lot, but I am going to be working during the next few weeks, so I want to try and manage expectations and start with the ones that are going to be my highest priority. So I've managed to narrow it down to 3 books which are my highest priority. The first one is the one that I'm going to be focusing most on over the next couple of days because this one is very high priority, and that is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. And I feel like this book definitely falls into the prompt of reading a gothic book because it's super dark, as are all of Daphne du Maurier's books. But the reason this one is such a high priority for me is because I'm actually hosting a read-along of Rebecca, which is called Rebeccalong. I've talked about it quite a lot over the last few weeks, so if you already know about it, apologies for mentioning it again, but it is essentially a read-along of this book because of the fact that on the 21st, which is obviously a couple of days from now, the new Netflix adaptation of this book is coming out and I cannot wait. So I'm hosting this read along alongside Jess, who I'll link in the description box down below. But I really need to get my arse into gear and really get this book finished because I'm only 130 pages in and it is about 400 pages long. And Jess and I have a live show for this book on Friday of this week, which will be the 23rd, I think, maybe the 23rd or 24th. Later on this week, essentially, I need to have finished this book. So this is my #1 priority. But then after that, my other 2 main priorities are the 2 group books for the Dark Academics Book Club this month. And those books are We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson, and also The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. Now this one of the 2 books is my next highest priority after Rebecca because I haven't read this before, whereas I did actually read We Have Always Lived in the Castle last year, so that one will be a reread and probably will be a little bit quicker to get through, whereas this one is completely new to me and I have no idea what it's going to be about. So that's where I'm at with reading plans. I have 3 pretty incredible sounding books to try and get through over the next few days, and I'm hoping to maybe get these books finished within the next few days at the end of this week so that I can then focus on a few other spooky and creepy books for the second week of the readathon. As I mentioned though, it is Monday, which means that it's a work day for me. I'm currently on my lunch break. I just had some crumpets, but I thought I would also share with you my lunchtime snack, which I picked up over the weekend. If you watch my Fall into Autumn readathon, you might have already seen these, but I picked up some donuts from a donut shop in York, and I still have this Biscoff one left to eat and I cannot wait because it looks incredible. So I've saved this for today and I'm absolutely dying to dig into it. So I thought I'd do a little taste test. I did have they did some Halloweeny ones as well, so I had a green one that was filled with cherry jam that looked very interesting and that was nice, but I'm really excited for this one, so let's go for it. When I was in York the other day with Em, she told me that her and her cousin Lucy always laugh at the fact that I make the same face for literally everything that I taste test on this channel, but I can assure you this is good. You can never go wrong with Biscoff, and I cannot wait to eat the rest of it. So without further ado, I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of my donuts, and I'll catch up with you later on this evening, hopefully with some reading updates.
Thoughts are too big. Can I get some comfort, please? I guess I should have been honest. It breaks in my heart. It's weighing me down, baby. I'm like a river that's overflowed. The sooner you know it, the less do we hurt. Let me speak the truth. Face it, you think it's too late, but I can see past the rain. Won't you lay it on me? Turn the page and burn it. Let's make up a big bonfire on the beach with the stars as our light. Throw our problems in the flame. Throw our problems in the flame.
I actually find it kind of hilarious how varied my appearance can be in these vlogs. Obviously in my sit down videos I pretty much always look the same, but in these vlogs you can go from me looking completely well made up, ready to go out for coffee, wearing nice clothes, to what I look like after teaching a yoga class or going to the gym, which is basically a hot mess. And then this, which is my comfy attire. Tonight I have on my coziest outfit ever. It is this hugely fluffy pyjama top, Christmas pyjama bottoms, which obviously do not match the top, and then some fluffy socks, and I am ready to chill out. And I just love it, but I just think it is funny because honestly, you guys just see me in all of the ranges of my appearance, and that's just what we're working with. So it is now Tuesday evening, and as you can tell from this cozy attire, I am ready for a very chilled out Tuesday night, and that is because Tuesday night at this time of year is my favourite night of the week because it is a bake-off night. We're already like 5 weeks into the bake-off season. This is the 5th week, and I cannot wait because tonight is pastry night, which is always a tense night because pastry is so unpredictable and so difficult, and I can't wait to see how it goes. I feel like this year's bake-off, if anyone is watching, let me know what you think, but it's quite an interesting one because so far I'm not noticing like a particular front runner. I feel like there's quite a few people that could win it, and I'm not noticing like one surefire winner, whereas a lot of times there is by this point one person who's like consistently doing the best. So I'm really interested to see how it actually goes, but I am loving it. I've been a bit rubbish this year with actually baking. I baked on the first week, but then I haven't baked anything since, and I've just been buying bake-off snacks, whereas last year, some of you might remember if you've been subscribed to me for that long, that I actually did like a challenge last year where each week I shared a video where I veganized one of the recipes from Bake Off, which was really fun, but I just have not had that much time this year, so instead we've just been buying snacks. And today Jay actually went into town and bought us Pret cookies, so I have one of their dark chocolate and almond vegan cookies, which I am so excited about. And I'm very pleased to report that during the day today, before work and also on my lunch break, I was doing a little bit of Rebecca reading, and I'm now on page 201, which is about halfway through this book, so I'm making good progress. And basically my plan of action for the rest of the week, so I've got 3 more days until my live show, is that I'm going to be using my mornings before work and also my lunch times to read, and I think that should give me plenty of time to finish the book. but things are getting very tense, as I mentioned yesterday, and it's only building up more and more with each chapter. I feel like the more that our main character gets to know all of the various people that knew Rebecca, the more she is kind of crippled by her own anxiety and lack of self-belief, and the more she is like allowing herself to be weighed down by this comparison that she and Mrs. Danvers are drawing between her and Rebecca. And there was a part that I just read in which Mrs. Danvers kind of explained Rebecca a little bit more to Maxim's new wife, our protagonist, and at that point you really get an insight into Mrs. Danvers' psyche and how sort of twisted she is in the delight that she takes in reminding the new protagonist, or the new wife rather, that she is the new Mrs. De Winter, that she's not the original, and that in her mind she'll never live up to Rebecca. And she does it in such a falsely sweet way that it makes it all the more unnerving, because it just means that she's just this very calculating, spiteful character who is taking advantage of a young, shy and sort of lacking in self-esteem character. But I am absolutely loving it. It's such a brilliant book, and I'm very excited to read more tomorrow morning because I just really want to get through this book. I'm loving it so much, and like I said, such a great reread, because although I kind of know what happened, it's really like familiarising me with the story and the characters again, and there's just so much more to notice each time that you read it. So loving it. I'm about to actually have a FaceTime call with Em. We're discussing a few exciting things which I cannot wait for, so I'm going to FaceTime Em, and then it will be time for Bake Off, which again, cannot wait. So I've got a pretty great Tuesday evening ahead of me.
We fell down to the bottom, so bottom up please. We're gonna get over this. I see the smoke in the mirrors, I'm holding the key, one step away from salvation. You're like the ocean, setting me free. Out in the open, I'm picking up speed. No bad thoughts penetrate. Hold me like this is the first time. Our destiny calls, not leaving this incomplete. Won't you lay it on me? Turn the page and burn. Let's make up a big bonfire on the beach with the stars as our lighters, and throw our problems in the flame. Throw our problems in the flame. And throw our problems in the flames. Ooh, throw our problems in the flame. I get a little bit breathless. My thoughts are too big.
So it's now Thursday evening. I just finished work, and I am so excited about this evening because today is the day that Jess and I are doing our live watch along of Rebecca as part of the Rebeccalong Readathon, which I'm so excited because that was the thing that really kick-started this entire idea, was the fact that there was going to be this new movie adaptation, and today we're finally watching it. So Jess and I are both going to be starting watching it at 7 p.m. this evening, and then like live tweeting all of our thoughts, and I cannot wait. In terms of reading though, I am now at page 286, so I'm getting through it. I am on my way there. I obviously need to finish it by tomorrow, but I think I can do it. I've got faith in myself, and oh my god, this book is so good. I had forgotten so many of the details, and just so many like little characteristics are so interesting, and one character I'm particularly interested about seeing how they are characterized in the film version is Mrs. Danvers. She is, I would say, probably the most compelling character in this entire story because she is so dark and twisted and sinister, and just some of the physical descriptions of her like skeleton-like face and her creepy, horrible smiles and all that kind of stuff are just so dark in the book, and I'm interested to see how that comes across on screen. So I'm really looking forward to that because her character is obviously just so pivotal in how the narrative develops, and her her relationship with the new Mrs. De Winter is really, really important and really kind of, I think, triggers the protagonist's lack of self-confidence and paranoia that she is always going to be compared to Rebecca. So it's really, really interesting, and I'm also interested to see how Lily James and the actress that is playing Mrs. Danvers, whose name has completely escaped me, kind of interact, because I already do feel like, as is the case with a lot of Hollywood films, there's not like necessarily the right characterization. I love Lily James with all of my being. I think she is incredible, but the main character in this book is described as being very plain, not very beautiful by comparison to Rebecca, not much to look at, and I think we can all agree that Lily James is stunning and does not fall into that category. So we obviously have a very, very beautiful protagonist, whereas in the book not so much. And then of course the guy that they've got playing Max De Winter, is his name Arnie Harmer? I always get confused about where the M's and N's are, but he is also not significantly older than Lily James, whereas Mr. and Mrs. De Winter in this book have quite a significant age gap. So that's why I'm quite interested to see how Mrs. Danvers is like sort of brought to life, because I don't think she's going to be quite as horrifying and sinister as the Mrs. Danvers that we get in this book, but I'm still really excited. So that's coming up this evening. It's currently about 5:30, so we're going to grab some dinner. I have lots of delicious snacks waiting for the watch along, and I'm honestly just so excited. I also thought I'd mention I have filmed this tree many times, and especially over the last few weeks, but whilst I've been sitting at my desk and working away, I've just been completely in awe of this tree that's just outside our window, because it's like the most beautiful autumnal tree. The bit that's right near our window is still very green, and then a bit further away it goes yellow, and then right at the end of the tree it's like orange and golden, and I'm just in love with it. So I'm going to show you, because I just feel like never quite gets its justice through a camera, but it just looks so very spectacular and I love it. Nothing like cutting it fine to keep you on your toes, because it's currently just after 6:30 on Friday evening, and I just finished up reading Rebecca. I managed to read some before work today, on my lunch break, and also after work, and I just finished up and my live show with Jess, where we're discussing this book as well as the new Netflix movie that we of course watched yesterday, is literally in 30 minutes, so very much cutting it to the last minute possible, but I finished it, and that is the main thing. Really excited to discuss this one with Jess, especially because having now seen the movie, which is what kicked off this entire readathon idea, I just have so many thoughts. I did really enjoy the film. Basically anything that is a period drama and also includes Lily James is going to be a big win for me, because I think she's incredible, especially in book adaptations and period dramas and anything like that. But I will say that the new movie was a very different experience to the book, and sort of watching the movie as I was still in the middle of the book was really interesting because it was so different. I think from our Discord chat and what I've seen on social media, people have quite similar opinions to me in that it felt quite rushed. There were a few changes which obviously made it a little bit more cinematic and maybe a bit more dramatic, but on the whole I felt like it cut out a lot of tension. And I do feel like unless you had read the book and kind of knew the story in a lot greater detail, you would be left not really knowing all that much about what was going on, and I'm not convinced that watching that film would make me want to read the book if I hadn't already. But I obviously had already, and I did enjoy it, so really glad to have done that, and I'm super excited to get on live and chat with Jess, and of course any of you that managed to join us as well. So I'm going to get ready, set up the laptop and get ready for that live show. Cannot wait to see what Jess thinks, and I think it's going to be a really interesting discussion. Well, the live show for Rebecca has just finished and it was so much fun. Jess and I, as predicted, had so much to say, and there were also loads of you getting involved as well, and it was such an active live chat, which is always so fun because it just makes it so much better when there's questions and thoughts from everyone, and so it was incredible. I think the overall takeaway was that Rebecca as a book was absolutely incredible, flawless, and just chef's kiss, absolutely amazing, undoubtedly a 5-star, and I'm really confused now about which is my favourite du Maurier because it had been a few years since my last read of Rebecca, and so I had thought that Jamaica Inn was my favourite, but now I'm undecided again because this is so good and Jamaica Inn is so good and I just love them both. So, you know, suffice it to say, I love Daphne du Maurier. Her writing is incredible. This book is so intense and dark. The characters are so complex, and there's just so many interesting things to say about this book that I could probably talk about it all day long. But what I will finish with is the fact that what I think is so incredible about this book is that it is very character driven. The plot moves quite slowly, and yet there are so many intricacies of each individual character and so many layers in the relationships between each of the characters that just makes this book so gripping and so impossible to put down. And it's also a book which is so rich with vivid imagery, and yet it doesn't feel too much. There are some books where you feel like you're getting description for the sake of description, whereas in this book you just feel like you're being painted this incredible picture of these characters who deserve each and every word of description that's given to them. And it's just such a rare thing in books, I think, to have a book that is so slow moving and so incredibly well written that doesn't feel boring and gives you so much vivid imagery and is so beautiful, and yet sort of crosses that beauty and balances it with such darkness and intensity, and I absolutely loved it. As I already mentioned, I enjoyed the film as well, and I'm so glad that it did come out because that was really what encouraged Jess and I to pick up this book again and to host Rebeccalong. So although it has taken me a little bit longer than I expected to read Rebecca, because I've actually been going at this for about 2 and a bit weeks now, I honestly just enjoyed soaking in every bit of this book, and it was incredible, and Jess and I both had such a fun time, and we're hoping that more book to movie adaptations come out soon because we would love to do something like this again. I will of course be leaving Jess's channel linked in the description box down below, so definitely go and check her out and subscribe because her content is wonderful and I am sure you will love it. But with Rebecca being finished, I think I'm going to bring this vlog to an end. This was of course the first week of the Dark Academics Halloweenathon. So I thought I would just check in with some of the prompts and see if I've managed to tick any of them off this week. So first off, by finishing Rebecca, I've managed to tick off the prompt of reading a gothic novel, which is great because I've managed to tick off one of the bookish prompts, which is always good. And I also watched the book to movie adaptation of Rebecca, which means I've ticked off the watching a spooky book to movie adaptation, which again, really happy with. As you've seen, I made lots and lots of hot chocolates, which is a theme throughout my life, and so I've managed to tick off trick or treat, make yourself something sweet, so I'm not doing too badly, 3 prompts down so far. And I believe that is it for now, so I've got 6 more prompts to tick off and 1 more full week left of the Dark Academics Halloweenathon, so I'll be picking up with that in next week's vlog, and I hope to see you there. I really hope you've enjoyed hearing all of my thoughts on Rebecca. I certainly enjoyed reading it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.